Hello and welcome to this week's reading vlog. It's that time again already. I feel like I say this every single week, but I never know where the time goes. So this is my last day before I go back to work after having a week off. So I think my reading will probably slow down for next week, well, this coming week, so we shall see. But as always, I have two books to talk about because you know me, a physical book and a Kindle book always. So I will start with the physical book because I haven't technically started it, and that is Electric Idol by Katee Robert. And I've read one chapter. I read one chapter last night and it was a struggle to stay awake to read it, but I did, and I'm on chapter 12. So these are modern retellings of Greek myths. So this one is Psyche and Eros. So I will read the back of this for you. So this is the second book in the Dark Olympus series. I have read the first one, Neon Gods. It was quite a while ago, but I really enjoyed it. But I feel like they are more interconnected. So you get more from them if you read them, but you don't necessarily need to. Yeah, so this one says, in the ultra-modern city of Olympus, there's always a price to pay. Psyche knew she'd have to face Aphrodite eventually, but she never expected her literal heart to be at stake, or for Aphrodite's gorgeous son to be the one ordered to strike the killing blow. Eros has no problem shedding blood. Raised to be his mother's knife in the dark, he's been conditioned to accept that he's more monster than man. But when it comes to take out his latest target, he can't do it. Confused by his reaction to Psyche's unexpected kindness, he does the only thing he can think of to keep her safe. He binds her to him, body and soul. Psyche didn't expect to find herself married to the city's most dangerous killer, but something about Eros awakens a fire she never felt before. As lines blur and loyalty shift, Psyche realises Eros might take her heart after all, and she's not sure she can survive the loss. If you know anything about Katee Robert, you'll know that her books are very spicy and they are, yes, full of smut basically, but also really fun to read. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. As I said, I've only read the first chapter, and from the beginning of this, it looks like, so in this, the main people, so like Zeus, Hades, Aphrodite, all those people, they're not people, they're titles. So there's a new Zeus who was the previous Zeus's son, so it's like you get that title, and he is currently unmarried, which means they are looking for somebody to become Hera, and Psyche's mom wants her to be that. She does not. And that is pretty much all that's happened so far. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into it. And the covers are so pretty. So I got these as a set from the works, I think like 2 Christmases ago. So I'm looking forward to getting into them. Yeah, because I actually listened to Neon Gods as an audio book and really enjoyed it. So then I got the whole set. So I'm looking forward to getting into it, and I just love these covers. Then I do have a Kindle book, and that is Guardians of Alice Risen from Ash by Samantha Vargas, and I'm actually on the ARC reading team for this book and then the second book that is due out in August. So I need to read this one so that I can then read and review it, the second one, in time for that to be released. So it's like a joint thing, and I haven't actually started this yet. I finished up a book that I was reading on my Kindle last night, so I will be reading this next. I will just read the synopsis for you. So, what do you want, little flame? It was a question Kiana never dared to ask. Raised behind the impenetrable orb of River Storm, Kiana is destined to serve and protect her city as a star born from the evil festering beyond the barrier after the War of Liberation. She and 4 other guardians are gifted magic by the great and powerful King Varen. Then Kiana discovers the king's secret and throws his gift back in his face. When River Storm's lies shatter, Kiana makes the impossible choice to help a rebel army tear down the orb and run. She never expected the other guardians to follow. Now hunted and broken, they discover a world far different from the one they were taught to fear. A world that forces them to question everything, including themselves. As loyalties fracture and kingdoms prepare for war, Kiana must decide who she truly is, the obedient weapon the king forged, or the flame that will burn his empire to ash. One flame to defy fate if she has the strength to let it burn. And it just sounds really interesting. So it is 430 pages long, so I don't think it will take me too long to actually get this read. But I do need to pick up and get myself sorted with ARCs, because I do have quite a few e-arcs that I've accidentally left until the last minute. So I had loads of time to read them. I was like, oh, I can read them a little bit later, because they're not due yet. And now it's getting to the point where all of them are coming up at the same time. So this and the second one are the most important because I'm on the team for them, so I need to get these ones read, and I am really looking forward to it. So today, that is the plan. We have D&D a little bit later. We haven't played in a little while, so that will be really fun, but that's not till 7. I do want to do a little bit of filming of videos, but for the most part I will just be reading. So I definitely want to start the Kindle book, and then I've also got my physical book to read, and that is the plan for today. I just want a really chill day before I'm back at work tomorrow, because I feel like tomorrow's going to be a lot. So yeah, I just want to have a nice time. It's later in the day and I actually haven't done that much more reading, really. I have solely been focusing on Guardians of Elstyle, Risen from Ash. I'm just going to call it Risen from Ash from now on because I want to. So I am on page, when it loads, 72. I'm 16% of the way through on chapter 8. I won't lie, I don't really know what's going on right now. So we have been introduced to quite a few characters. The main character is Kiana. It's not turning off, finally. The main character is Kiana, and she is supposedly this star born, and a lot of other people do not really like the fact that she is. They're saying that she is quite weak, and from what I can gather so far, the king has some magic and he is the one that gives this magic to people, and so she can kind of like siphon the magic to use, but she's not very good at it, and so nobody particularly likes her because of that, because she's supposedly the starborn and isn't the most powerful. And there's this kind of like barrier that she's having to build, but there's been talks about what's beyond this barrier, so that's, I'm assuming, the premise of the story. She has just kind of, it's been hinted that she has some of her own power and that the king has been erasing her memories, and so I'm sure that that's going to come into it and we're going to understand a bit more. But right now I'm just trying to understand who these different characters are, because there's been a few different perspectives and I won't lie, I'm a little bit confused by that. So I'm just trying to get to grips with who everybody is, how everything's all together, how the world works and all of that. But yeah, it's not bad, but I feel like the first 100 pages of most fantasy books at least are setting things up, and it can be a bit confusing until it all starts to click. So I am looking forward to getting more into it so that I can actually start to understand what is happening. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I did film video earlier and have been doing some editing of thumbnails and just little bits. I'm trying to get better at a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in terms of my channel. So I did the banner, I've edited and created that. I did a thumbnail for the video I've just created, and I've trying to change things up a bit and just make it look a little bit nicer, because now that I feel like my weekly reading vlogs, I'm quite confident I know what I'm doing with those. My editing isn't insane, but because most of my videos are just sitting here, I don't think that that's that big of a deal. But I would like to just make my thumbnails a little bit more inviting and a little bit more interesting to make people want to click on the videos. So there is that. and yeah, just trying to think of some more ideas on what I do. But the day has kind of just gotten away from me, I won't lie, so not major progress. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes until D&D, so I'm going to have something to eat and then hopefully do some more reading on this until then, and hopefully make some more progress. We have not long finished playing D&D and it is 20 to 10, so I am going to be getting myself up to bed very soon. But I have read a chapter of Electric Idol, so I am now on page 24, and Psyche has just met Eros and he was not in a very good way and was bleeding, so she has helped him, and a photographer has happened to catch them looking a little bit dishevelled, and it obviously looks bad even though they weren't actually doing anything. She was just helping bandage him up, so she's now worried how this is going to look to her mum and to Aphrodite. But that is pretty much all that has happened so far. But I'm going to get myself upstairs and into bed and hopefully read at least another chapter of this, see where it goes. I have made a little more progress on Risen from Ash, but not much, so I am now on page 87 and chapter 10, and it is mostly still just setting everything up. The king does not seem to be a very nice guy, and as I said, there's this group of people that are sort of like, they obviously work for the king, and they are all together and they're discussing what's beyond the wall and for this barrier thing, and so I think they're going to try and go over it. And the main character, Kienna, she collapsed from, and she knows it's from using her own magic, but she doesn't want to tell anybody else about it, so she's keeping that hidden at the moment, so I'm sure that will come out. But again, not a whole lot has happened, and I haven't actually read that much more since I updated earlier, but it's still setting everything up, so I will make some more progress on this tomorrow, but I just wanted to read some more of this. So I am back at work tomorrow, so the reading will probably slow down again. I imagine my first day back will be quite busy trying to catch up on everything, but yes, I will just see how it all goes and try and keep reading these. As I knew it would, being back at work has really slowed the reading down, so I have made a little bit more progress on Electric Idol. I'm now on page 46 and not much really, so I think I've only read like a chapter and a little bit, but now Aphrodite has basically said to Eros that he needs to bring her Psyche's heart, and he's making jokes. He's saying, do you mean literally or figuratively, and things like that, and she's just saying, I want to get rid of her because her mom is trying to make her the next Hera and I don't want her to be. I want you to put her in her place. And he seems to be hesitant about this, but he's kind of saying, well, I have to do what my mum tells me to do, but he doesn't really want to do it. And that's all that's really happened so far, which is not really a spoiler because it is kind of just what's on the back. But you know, I'm not really far enough into it to comment anymore, but I am enjoying it, so I need to get into it a little bit more. I don't think I've read any more of Risen from Ash since the last time we spoke. I'm just going to get the update up. So no, I'm still on page 87, 19% of the way through. This is going to be my focus for today, so I'm now on my lunch break, so I will spend my time reading this and trying to get a good amount of progress done and trying to understand exactly what's happening and where things are going. And yeah, not the most exciting update for right now, but I knew this was going to happen with being back at work, but hopefully I will get back into my routine and continue with my reading. I have made a very minimal amount of progress on Risen from Ash. I am now on chapter 14, 116 pages in, 26% of the way through, and I won't lie, I'm actually struggling a little bit with this. Now, I don't know whether it is just because I'm back at work today, so I've not done as much reading as I usually would. We also watched, well, Dave mostly watched the second Dune Part 2, and I kind of sort of half watched it, but I haven't done much reading this evening, but I'm waiting for the story to kick in a little bit. I'm not gripped as much. I'm hoping that now it will start to kick in a little bit more. There has been some interesting things. So Kiana, the main character, she has this power, and she was like dreaming, and she met this person who is on the other side of this barrier, and she seems very conflicted because she is obviously this starborn king is like really nice to her, and she sort of believes what he's saying, but then she's also learning that he's been altering her memories, and just a lot of things are starting to come to her that she's noticing that he is not necessarily the nicest of guys. I think soon she's going to realise that actually he isn't as nice and as amazing as she has been led to believe. But yeah, I just think it is a little bit slow to start with. I'm hoping it's one of those that once we get into it, once the story starts to really move, all that at the beginning clicks into place. But at the moment I'm not loving it, so I'm really hoping that I can get into it a bit more and start to enjoy it. So I will be heading up to bed very shortly, so I'm just going to read this. I haven't really read any more on Electric Idol, so I'm not going to mention that for now. I'd like to get, what am I on, 20-something% of the way through, 26. I'd like to get to like 30-40% of the way through sort of tomorrow, just to keep things moving, and hopefully that will help. But yeah, I'm not having much luck, particularly with arcs at the moment. Now I know this is technically not an arc because it is released, but it's part of an arc team. I think once I've done most of the arcs that I have, because I do have quite a few, I'm going to take a break from them, especially e-arcs requested from NetGalley. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from that and just see. There is only one arc team that I've been on from the start, that the next book will be coming soon, and I believe I'll be on the team for that. But that is one that I was already planning on. One is fine, and it's to support an author that I really love, so that's different. But in terms of like NetGalley and a few of these sort of PR groups that I'm part of, I'm just going to take a step back and just try and tackle all of the books that I've got, because I'm finding that yes, I'm wanting to read these books, they sound really interesting, but a lot of them are falling a little bit flat for me. So I've already got so many books to read, I'd much rather just get through a lot of my backlist first, and then if they'll be released, then I can just pick them up at another time. I don't need to arc read everything. Not that I do a lot, but the last few months I have kind of let it get to me a little bit, so I'm going to take a step back afterwards. But I'm just really tired. Being at work makes you tired, especially after having a week off. But yeah, I have to be an adult. I have made some progress on Risen from Ash. I managed to get 30% of the way through for this morning, so I'm now on page 133, chapter 16, and I will say it has really started to pick up now, so I feel like this story is going to pull me in. So it feels like there's obviously this barrier that the king is saying they need to protect because the people on the other side are bad, there's issues on the other side, all those kind of things. But it doesn't seem like that is the truth at all. So we know that Kiana has been speaking in dreams to this guy who she does not know the name of, and he is basically saying we need to tear down this barrier, and it seems like that is what is going to happen. So yes, I'm definitely getting more into it now. I'm more invested in the story. I just think it was a little bit of a slow start, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of this will go. So I'm just going to try and read as much of this as possible, because I also then need to read the second one in August. So it's a very small window of time for me to read them both. So I'm just going to try and keep this as the priority and the main focus for this week until I get it done. I did a little bit of editing this morning, so I'm trying to keep on top of that. But yes, I've just working as normal today, so we will see how things go. But yes, I'm feeling better about the book now, so I think it'll be a lot easier to get into it more, and yeah, we will see where it takes us. Still slowly making progress on Risen from Ash. So it is my lunch break and I have read one more chapter, so I am now on page 144, 33% of the way through chapter 17, and I definitely think it's going to start picking up from now. Kiana, the main character, has kind of realised that her whole view is not quite true. Things that she believed are not really what may be the truth, and she has been stripped of her powers from the king. So I can see that now things are going to start picking up. She's going to become more aware and more determined to find out the truth. So that is really good. I will say that I'll see how it goes over the next few chapters, because I did really struggle with the beginning of this, but I'm hoping that it will now pick up from here and I will start to enjoy it a lot more and just get into it, and hopefully we'll start to see more of what's beyond this barrier, what exactly is going on, why these things are happening, and just having a little bit more of an interesting take on it. I will say there's still quite a few characters, so we've just had another character's perspective. Now I believe it's one of like the King's Guards. They're not really like properly introduced, so you just kind of have to try and figure out who they are. So that didn't help as well, because that's happened with a couple of other characters, and I will not lie, I wasn't sure, I couldn't figure out who they were. I know there's Kiana, and I know there's the guy that she was seeing in her dreams, but he didn't have a name. And then I think we've had at least two other perspectives that I can think of, and I was just like, I'm not actually sure who these people are and how they relate back. You kind of have to just try and figure it out. That was confusing me a little bit, but I feel like the more we get into the story, the more I will understand and be able to piece those people together. So yes, I'm looking forward to getting into it more. I'm hoping that tonight I will get some good amount of reading done, because I didn't really do that much reading yesterday. So it is much later and I'm in my new cozy spot. And by new cozy spot, I mean I've gotten a really nice sunset lamp, and I have been using it for a few things, but I'm just testing. I'm not sure how well this will work, but I got it behind the camera because obviously the lights are off and it's all dark. Dave's putting on the big light, because I do have two lights attached to my tripod, but they're not very good, so I do need to invest in a good ring light. But I just thought I'd try this out and see if it works. It's got loads of different settings on it and it seems to be doing okay for now, so we shall just keep it as it is. I have been making progress. Oh, that's the only thing. Can you even see that? On Risen from Ash. Is it better if I put it this side? I don't know. I think you can see it. I'm not sure it's any better or worse than usual. Risen from Ash. I am now on page 181, chapter 22, and I did get to actually 42% of the way through this. I did say I wanted to get to at least 40% of the way through, and I did. Now I will say that this has really started to pick up quite a bit. So the first part of this was quite slow start and I was struggling with it a little bit. It has really started to pick up now and I am really getting into it. I'm really intrigued to see where the story will go. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping that, you know, because I'm about 40% of the way through. I'm hoping that the sort of second half of this I'm going to be able to fly through, because I want to know what is happening and getting into it more. So that is really good. I think Kiana has got a lot of questions that she needs answering, because I have a lot of questions on what exactly is going on, so it's quite interesting to see. And the other warriors have followed her, and so yeah, I imagine they're all going to get into all of this together. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how it goes, and just yeah, I'm glad that it started to pick up, because I was getting a little bit concerned that I was going to have to slog through not only this one but the second one as well. But it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. As I said, I'm definitely enjoying it a lot more. It is picking up, so that is really great. This is pretty much all I've been reading today, so I haven't made any more progress on anything else. Honestly, I'm not feeling so great today. I do have a little bit of a headache, so reading has not been my main priority. I am on my lunch break and I have read a little bit more of Risen from Ash, so I've read another chapter. I'm now on page 209. I'm 48% of the way through, so I'm almost 50% of the way through, which is good. It is definitely picking up a lot, and I'm really intrigued to see where it's going. They are over the barrier into this other place, and they're kind of traveling to the town, the main town of this place, but they're not there yet. They're like camping out. The other warriors have followed her, but I'm a little bit suspicious of some of them. I'm not going to lie, like they're all supposed to be supportive of each other, but I don't trust that that's the case. And yeah, I'm just intrigued to see where it will go. It'd be interesting once we get to this sort of town where they're supposed to be going to meet other people who live here and what it's all about. That would be really interesting. But yeah, I've just woken up with a bit of a headache today, and I see I'm working, so I'm trying not to get it any worse. But we are potentially going to the gym after work tonight, so I think once we've done that, my focus will be this. But I'm not sure that I'm going to get much reading done at all today. See how it goes. We went to the gym. It was a struggle. I'm now ridiculously tired. I also had an accident on that after I finished work, so that probably didn't help either. So I have not done much reading at all today. So I've read one more chapter of Risen from Ash, so I'm now on page 215, 49% of the way through. It's definitely picking up, it's getting more interesting. I'm intrigued to see what's going on, and I am starting to understand who all the different characters are now when it's giving their different perspectives, so that is really handy, because I was a little bit confused before. But yes, I am getting into it and looking forward to seeing where it will go. The story is definitely picking up, so that is good. I also have made a little bit of progress on Electric Idol. I'm now on page 76, and Eros has met up with Psyche and basically told her that his mum wants her dead. She is kind of freaking out and is like, well, that's not good. Of course, but then also she's saying like, well, if you do that, then my mum will go mad about it. Like, it's just this and like other people will be on her side. There's all this. She's like, you know, trying to convince him not to do it, and he's saying essentially the only possible thing that they could do to prevent him having to kill her is, you guessed it, of course, getting married. So he has said, shall we, you know, we'll get married. And that is pretty much all I've got to at the moment. She's like, what? I feel like this is going to be a fake dating scenario where they end up getting married for convenience of her not dying and him not having to kill her, and then they of course decide that they like each other. But I'm not that far into it, so we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, I'm just, as I said, this morning I woke up with a little bit of a headache, so I haven't been feeling my best. But because we've been to the gym, I'm about to go and shower and get myself into bed. And I'm not even sure which one I'm going to read, but I'm going to read one of these, probably my Kindle. But yeah, I'm going to get these done and hope that tomorrow I feel a little bit better and to make some more progress, because this week has actually kind of got away from me. The fact that it's Thursday tomorrow, I've barely read anything. So we'll see if tomorrow is a little bit better. definitely feeling much better today than I was yesterday. So I had a relatively early night last night, and I did do some more reading of Risen from Ash last night, and I've read a little bit more now whilst on my lunch break, and I am now up to page 244, chapter 31, and 57% of the way through. I would really like to get this finished this week. So it says I've got 3 hours and 34 minutes left on this book, so I want to try and power through this. We don't have any plans tonight, so we're not going to the gym or doing anything like that, so I think I'm just going to get this read as much as possible. I probably won't finish it tonight, but I'm hoping that I'll get this finished tomorrow morning, because I haven't actually finished a single book in this vlog, so I really want to get this done. I do not believe that there's any possibility of getting this done in the vlog, so the main focus will be the Kindle book. It's picking up a lot more now. Things are happening, so the king is kind of, he appeared, and then he's kind of basically set a little bit of a plan in motion, so that's happening. They've pretty much now just got to Doveport, which is the place that they were trying to get to, so they've just got there, and I'm sure that more things will start to unfold from there. And yeah, I think Kiana is really interesting character. All of them are really interesting, in all honesty. I'm a bit confused, not confused, but I'm a bit sort of unsure on this Connacht guy and exactly how he fits into everything, because he was somebody who lived on the other side of the barrier and then managed to escape to get to the side they're on now. But I don't understand how he links to Kiana. They clearly have this bond between the two of them, but it hasn't been explained yet, so hopefully that's something that will come up in this next part of the book. So that is pretty much it. I am just chilling, and this is completely unrelated, but I love tea, and just any kind. And so we went to a cafe a few weeks, whenever it was, and they were serving this, which I've not seen before. I think it is new, and it's a Twinings refresh, and it's juicy raspberry lemonade with hibiscus, and it's just really cute. And I was like, oh, it's really nice. And we happened to see some in Sainsbury's when we popped in to do some shopping yesterday, so I picked some up, and I'm really happy about it. If you like iced tea or anything like that, fruity teas. But yeah, so I've got that, taking a break from the Pepsi Max, although we did buy a big crate of Pepsi Max. So I just don't know where this week has gone, in all honesty. I feel like I've not really done anything, but the time has gone by so quickly. So it's just a little bit crazy that it's already Thursday, but yeah, this is my plan. This is my plan. And you know, not every week is going to be a perfect week. Obviously, I'm back at work, so that has thrown me a little bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading some more. I finished work for the day. We've had something to eat. I managed to get salsa on my top, so now I'm in my pajamas. But this means my plan now is to chill here and read more of my book. So I think I mentioned it already, but I've got just over 3 hours left of this book. I'm hoping that I can get this down. It is 6:20, so if I could get to an hour left of this book, that would be amazing. If I could finish it, even better, but I know as soon as there's a target on it, I can't. But I'm really hoping that I can have, you know, maybe like an hour left that I can just finish off tomorrow, and then actually have something finished for this vlog, because I do feel like I haven't actually been doing that much reading. But I'm trying not to pressure myself at the same time, because that's not going to help anybody. But tomorrow is also the last day of the month, so it would be good to get this done tomorrow, so that I then closed out not only the vlog, but then obviously the month finishing a book. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I think I've done okay in terms of books read this month. I'll have to check. But obviously last week was a week off for me, so I had a really good week, and I just need to stop comparing myself to that, because it doesn't matter. I'm still reading, and I'm still reading every day, and I don't even have to do that if I don't want to, but I do. So that's all that matters, really. Yeah, all of that to say, this is what I am going to be reading for the evening. I have managed to make a good amount of progress on Risen from Ash. I am now on page 387, 90% of the way through chapter 51. So it's telling me I've only got 46 minutes left of this, and I think typically with Kindle for like books it'll say like the amount of time left in the book, but there's always like the little bits at the end, so it might be closer to sort of 40/45%, possibly even less depending on how much extra pages there are at the end. But I think I am most likely going to get this finished today by tonight. So my plan is to just read this. I'm going to try and read another chapter before I head up to bed, and then I'll probably read it in bed until I finish it, depending on how close I get. I'd really like to just get this finished today, and then I'll come tomorrow morning with my full thoughts on it and let you know about it. But it does feel like they're heading into the big fight scene at the end, so I think it's going to really start to kick off and be like much more fast paced in that sense. There's been some twists in this that I was not expecting at all. There's been some really interesting things going on, so that's been really good. I can sense that there's some romance potentially happening between Kiana and another character or two, so I'm not sure whether it will be a love triangle or what is going to happen there. But what I like is the fact that if that is the case, if there is a romance, it's not obvious at all. There's just little hints sprinkled in that I'm starting to sense. That'll be interesting to see how that continues into the second book. But I like the fact that that's really not the point of this book at all. It is absolutely a fantasy book, not a romantasy book, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just I find that even sometimes fantasy books have a lot of romance in it. This is not the case at all, so that's really interesting. But yes, I've made a lot more progress than I thought I would, which is great. I have just been charging my Kindle for a little bit because the battery was getting a little low, but yeah, I think I'm positive that I can get this done tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. I did manage to finish Risen from Ash last night, which I'm actually really shocked about. I didn't think that I would get it finished. I thought that I'd have to finish it off this morning, but the last part of the book definitely was a lot quicker, a lot more fast paced. So there was a big sort of battle scene, there was a big thing. There was lots of reveals at the end of this book. I decided to give it 3 stars. I will say the second half of the book was much more interesting, much more fast paced, had a lot more going on than the first half. But I will say there is a second book coming out which I will be reading. I'm not sure if it's just the 2 books or if the series will continue, but I did feel that this book very much was the setup book. It was giving you all the information that you need that I think will really come to fruition in the second book. The second book will be the big sort of this is everything that's happening. All this stuff that was in this one will link to that, and we'll have a lot more going on. So it wasn't necessarily bad. It's just, as I said, the first half of this I was quite confused. There was a lot going on, trying to figure out who all the different people were, how this whole thing worked, what's going on. There's still some questions that haven't been answered, which hopefully will be answered in the second book, but it just felt like it was just laying the groundwork. So for me, I just think I'm just now interested to see where it will go, see what will happen next, and go from there, rather than loving this book as much. It was enjoyable once I'd gotten into it, but overall it was just okay to set up the story. So that's great. So I have finished a book in this vlog, kind of at the last minute really, but that does mean that for today, the last day of this vlog, I will be focusing on Electric Idol. I haven't really read any more since I've updated, so pretty much they decided that they're going to get married. That's their thing. They're going to do it. They're going to say, oh, it's a whirlwind romance, and they just quickly decided to elope, kind of thing. So it hasn't actually happened yet, but they've discussed it, so that is pretty much all I've got to. I'm now on page 82, so I will continue on with this and let you know my thoughts as I start to read it today. I am reading Electric Idol. I have pretty much just got to the end of the chapter because I was in the middle of one, so I'm only just on page 86, chapter 7. So not really a whole bunch has happened since the last time I updated, but I will be making this the priority for the rest of the day. I will say though, so these covers are so pretty, and I haven't taken it out anyway because I haven't been anywhere, and I've not actually read that much of it, and already I don't know if I'm even going to be able to show this, but like, it's peeling. You could probably see it a bit better here, so maybe, I don't even know, but look at the edges here, around here, clearly where I'm holding it open, are all peeling, and it's quite annoying. So I'm a bit sad about that because this is the first time I'm even reading it as well, so I don't understand why it's so bad, but it is what it is. I don't mind when books get a little bit battered and a little bit used. I try not to break spine intentionally. Sometimes you can't help it, especially UK books. They're not floppy at all, but I don't mind, and especially books that I've read a few times, I don't mind if they get a bit, you know, worn and things like that. And if it's been in a bag, I can understand, but it's literally just been around the house with me. I haven't put it in anything. I've just been reading it. Yeah, like, so it looks a lot worse in person than it is being picked up on the camera. So on the camera, it probably looks like I'm being a little bit ridiculous, but it's like the film that they've put on top of it is peeling away kind of from every single edge. That's not great, but yeah, I'm going to make sure I focus on this. I'd like to get to page 150, 200. I don't know if I'll get to 200. I might. That's my goal. I'd like to get to 200 pages today because I'm not really doing anything this evening. I'm mostly up to date with editing, so that's great. And yeah, it would just be nice considering I've not actually read all that much in this vlog. So it'd be good to actually get a decent amount read. I have finished work for the day, so my plan is to sit and read more of Electric Idol. So I did read a little bit more while I was on my lunch break, so I did get to page 98, chapter 8, so I would love to get to page 200. That is the goal. So yeah, I'm going to sit here and read this for a little while and make some progress. A nice quick little update. This week has gone so quickly. The fact that it's the end of Friday already is crazy, but yeah, just an evening of reading will be so much fun. I managed to get to page 200 in Electric Idol, which was what I wanted, and it was the goal that I'd set for today, so I'm really happy about that. I will say it is partway through a chapter, but I thought since 200 was the goal that I had in mind, I would come and wrap up this vlog and get this all sorted before I go to bed, because I'm actually quite tired. It is 20 past 10, so I'm almost ready for my bed. So I think I might be I think I'm just under halfway through this now, which is actually pretty good. So Psyche and Eros have now gotten married, so that has officially happened. I can really see that they've both got feelings for each other, and they're both pretending that they don't and pretending that it's all just to keep Aphrodite away from them. but I can really see how they're going to start progressing in their relationship. I really liked the fact that Demeter, who's Psyche's mom, she found out about the wedding, and I thought she was going to kick off and make a big deal about it, but she didn't. She just asked Psyche if she was sure, and then was like, I'll walk you down the aisle. So I thought that was really sweet, because especially with the thoughts and the discussions about how horrible she can be and things like that. So it's like, not to her kids, just to other people, but I was like, oh, is she going to cause a big amount of trouble? But she didn't, so that was really nice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to properly getting into this, but I'm just really glad that I managed to get to page 200, which has made me feel a little bit more accomplished, because this vlog has definitely been one of the slower vlogs. I have only finished one book, which was on my Kindle, and yeah, it was me being back at work after having a week off, and just, I will say that the Kindle book Risen from Ash, that was obviously slower in the first half, which I wasn't expecting it to feel as slow, so I felt it was a little bit harder to get into. Plus being back at work and being tired and trying to get back into a routine, I'm just glad that I managed to finish a book and get almost halfway through another. Not every vlog can be filled with loads of books. It's unrealistic, but I still managed to get some progress, so that's the most important thing. So it is, I think, time to close out this vlog. So as always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this vlog, please like. If you'd like to see more of these, please do subscribe. Comment down below and tell me what you've been reading this week, or if you've read either of the two books that I have read. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you have been reading this week, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.